So let's give our animals something to do, or other than walking around. Let's go on to our tasks. See, let's open our animal unit. Okay, so we have the decide where to move, where we call from the animal AI. Okay, so here's what we can do with this. We could just keep, well, for now we can say that our animals will need something to eat. Okay, and we can keep hunger value. It can start from 0, and whenever we don't have a decision and we pass through here, we can say hunger value will add plus plus to that hunger value. If hunger value is greater than a threshold, for now we can just say 5. Okay, obviously this should be just very basic for now. We'll do later anything else. And we can even move this inside here, to be honest, this value. So instead of idle, it's going to look for something to eat. So if hunger value is greater than 5, if it's lower, then just do whatever you were doing before. But if it's greater than 5, then you're not going to have an idle decision anymore. You're going to go, and actually we need this above, over here. So instead of idle decision, let's create something else. We're going to copy, let's see. Yeah, the move decision will only tick stuff. Okay, so we're going to do void find food, and let's also assign, let's see, well, the easy way to do this will be to go and find the closest object to, the closest, let's use, let's make this a little bit more dynamic. So I'm going to have to go onto my material, and I'm going to say animal eats. Okay, obviously you can just use more than one material to this, and I'm going to also create animal produces. Produces means when you kill it, you're going to get this type of material. Okay, this can most likely is going to be meat. Based on that, if you put an animal that actually eats meat, which means it's getting produced by another animal, there you have your carnivores. Okay, for now let's just focus on making this the herbivores, and then we'll focus on the rest ones. So find food and void find actual or get eat actual, maybe not, go to food and eat, but whatever. Okay, so this will be over here, and our current decision is going to be the go to food. For find food, we're going to need some values. For example, we're going to need a target block, which we can reuse. Yeah, basically we need to have the same logic with this as with our path. Okay, but because for this we do need to have a target path, and we do need to have a path for that, we're going to say if current path, or let's say load path, it's going to load it onto, we're going to focus this with hash path then. So if hash path is false, then don't do nothing yet, we don't have a path. For find food, we're going to have to find all our available resources, and let's see. The problem is we don't actually have any. Do we have it? Let's see. Let's go with the object manager. This only keeps the storage block. So technically we just need something. Let's save for this. If we run it, our animals are probably going to have is going to be stacked after 5 moves, because we're not really running any behaviors. So hit load. Okay, so we need a way to keep all these values, either have them be stored at one position or one object so we can access them, or we're going to have the animal to look around its its behaviors, not its behaviors, around him, to find something to eat or whatever. Okay, so let's use the storage block or the object manager for now, and we're going to have a list of blocks or block materials, I guess. Let's see what we have in here. Yeah, okay, we have, no, that's not really going to do anything. We can keep okay, let's think. Okay, so we can either keep, let's make a holder. That's going to help us with this. Let's collapse everything. So let's create a new class in here. That's going to be material block holder. And we're going to need my material and the actual block. Okay, then let's use a list of material block holder. And we're going to need a method now that is going to be adding, either is going to be looking for, actually no, we don't need to be looking for, we just simply need to be categorizing this based on those materials. So that will be public void add material block. Okay, and we're going to be passing the actual block. Okay, so material block holder, new material block holder, and of course we can just use the constructor to populate this, but whatever. Holder equals target block will be your block, of course. Then holder dot my material will be block dot, we have material object. Material object sits as a game object. Let's say the raw material, yeah, the raw material sits as my material. Then we're going to have material block holders dot add the holder. Then we can have a method that is going to return us all the material block holders, get material block holders of material. We're going to have to pass the target material. Okay, then we're going to have material block holder, return value, return our return value, and then for material block holders dot count if material block holders I dot my material equals my material, then on the return value add this material block holders. Yeah, just add the block holder. Okay, now we can copy this method by radius, and we can pass a distance to this. So we're first going to be looking at distance, or actually let's say distance or minimum distance or maximum distance, better yet. Okay, and we need to be passing a block. Okay, then we're going to be finding the distance between the from block dot wall position to material block holders I dot target block wall position, and if distance is lower than or equals max distance, then you will add this to our returning list, so you don't go and eat something that's, you know, across the map. So on to our animal unit. When we're finding food, we're going to have to return a list of material block holder, target blocks, okay, which we can just assign directly from object manager. Get material block holders of material by radius. Of course, you don't want your animal to go and eat around the map. Let's also assign some normal distance, let's say 30. Okay, we're going to need animal eats. From block will be your current block, and the distance will be it distance. Then you can, well, okay, animals are not really that logical. Some they are, mostly are instincts. So for now, let's just get a random block. Okay, and we're going to assign that. However, if target blocks dot count is 0, then that means there's no food around. So we're going to say hunger value, set it back to 0, and we're going to have to, well, we're going to have to return, but we're actually going to have to return the above method as well. So this will be return false, return true. Okay, then over here we need to actually now do a pathfind operation for the animal. So let's use this first. Let's close that. So we have our find food. Bull has food, find food. If has food, then assign current decision. Otherwise, has food equals false, and let's say hunger value, let's set it back to 0. Okay, so it's going to come back again, and it's going to look after 5 decisions. It's going to look for this. So we have this, and let's go back. Okay, so now we need to add the, actually to do the request to pathfind. Let's see how we do this on previous ones. let's go on the base first of all. Have an assigned for stick, not path. It's going to come from here. Yeah, we actually have the Pathfinder tasks for this. So, path callback, we're going to request Pathfinder from the Pathfinder master, which is also a singleton. Okay, so let's go back the animal unit, and down here we're going to say pathfinding, Pathfinder master, request pathfind. The starting block will be, of course, our current block. Then we're going to be on our target blocks on the random value, and the unit will be this target block. Okay, we also need to store this block. So we need to have material block holder, target block to it, and target block to it will be, let's take all of this. Okay, so this will throw us the request for pathfind, which when we load back our path, it means we're going to have a path. It means when we are using this, when we go and start ticking, it's going to probably start moving and going towards the target block. So let's save this. And open up our world. Now onto our animal down here, we need to assign the animal each. I'm just going to assign the tree material for this, and we also need to actually assign, when we are assigning or creating the materials, we need to be assigning them back to the object manager, which means onto our world, which should be somewhere over here, world. Let's see, do we have my material? Yeah, we have the visualize my material for this block, but we need to find where we assign the raw material first of all, and this will be this. Okay, don't care for that. Add material block. We never use this, I guess. Oh, okay. So we are doing this with, we have this based off. Yeah, okay. Let's use this. So if we have this here, we're going to do object manager dot, or you know what? Let's go back and see where we call this. We're doing this here, and yeah, we're all calling this here. Okay, so if the block returns and it's not null after this, then you can just say object manager add or close storage block. Yeah, I forgot the name. Have the get closest. Okay, get closest. Add material on storage. No. create object on block, no, add material block. Yeah, let's rename this to add material block on list, and then add material block on list, and that will be our block. Okay, save it, minimize. We have assigned our animal leads. Okay, let this compile. Awesome. Then I'll load this in after you saved it, of course. Hit play, and we should have an animal. Okay, it moves once, 2. Remember, it's after 5. Let's see. What's this? Huh. So I think that's coming from. Don't think this comes from. Let's unload this. Don't think this was from the eating. Let's see. Actually, I don't know, so we'll see. Okay. Yeah, so that, I think that far away, it goes about hunger, and you can see that it doesn't, it goes to eat. Of course, it doesn't take away the object, material object, so let's do that. So, and animal unit, we're just going to make him eat it right away. We'll worry about later if we need to do something. First of all, hunger value should be set to 0. Then on the target block to eat dot my material, or yeah, my material, actually on the block, target block, raw material should be null. Then we need to remove it from the material block, yeah, from the object manager. So let's go over here and let's do a method that just removes them, and I'm going to do public void remove material block from list, material block holder, target holder, contains target holder, remove target holder. Okay, now here's another thing that we can do. Instead of removing it after the animal actually eats it, we can remove it here. So after we have this, we can just do object manager again, remove material block from list, target block to eat. However, when we kill the animal, if you have a target block to eat, you need to add it back again onto your list. So I'm just going to do a generic method onto the template of this, so onto the unit. I'm going to do a public virtual void on death. Okay. Then onto the animal unit, we're going to override this on death, and for now let's keep the base, okay, it doesn't matter. We can say if target block to it dot is not null, then we can reuse this and say dot add material block on list, and the holder will just create a new holder. You can avoid that if you want, but okay, whatever, it's not really that big of a deal of an it's not really that big of an issue. So if an animal goes and eats something and you kill it before it goes and eat it, the available material is going to be assigned back. Now, target block raw material, target block to eat, target block dot material object. We're going to destroy this, but we first need to know if it exists. So destroy target block material object if target block to it dot target block dot material object is not null. Okay, so we have all of this, target block to it, raw material, and finally we just need to set this back to null. Okay, let's also put a debug log whenever we decide that there is food. Okay, save that, minimize, and let's see what we're going to do now. Okay, let's enable this too. Well, we don't need that. Okay, it now goes to it. Let's see where it's going to go. Maybe 30 is way too much, but as you can see, it now started eating. Okay, one last thing that, okay, he goes, let's see, actually. He's going to go and eat again. Okay, so I think it never goes, oh, okay, yeah, it looped back to its normal behavior. So, yeah, you know what, I think I'm happy with this, because it's working normally. So here's what I'm going to do next. Let's save that. So here's what I'm going to do next. I'm just going to say on death, I'm going to produce a material. Yeah, I'm going to check for first if animal produce. I'm going to find my current block dot the raw material for this block is going to be animal produces. Okay, and I think animal produces, if we go onto our block, or was it with the material? Animal produces dot visualize my material, current block. This only adds it. It adds this as material object. Okay, awesome. And then we need to also add this back onto add material block on list, add the current block. One small issue with this is that if you die on a block right now that has another material, you are losing all the references that has that block had. So let's say if current block dot raw material for now we're going to say that if the raw material is null, only then go and add any material. Okay, obviously we need to fix that later. So how can we test this? We can just do public, let's do a public bool kill unit, and if kill unit, actually we don't even need that, we can just do on death, and afterwards we can just destroy this. Actually, instead of destroying it, let's say this.gameObject.setActive to false. Save that. Now let's go and create a new material. As you can see, we do have different logic for this, and yeah, we have to we have to create an abstract method for this. So let's call this meat material. And this one now is going to be the my material. We have to implement the abstract class, and we don't really need anything in here since it's not necessarily a material that we're going to be using. We're going to be just spawning onto a block. What I want, however, is, let's say I want to take this meat. Okay, so save that, minimize that, and we can actually just, let's do something different. Let's say that on my material we can also have a public virtual material or list of material block holders. Actually, let's say get available maybe not like that, let's leave that. We'll do this later. I basically just wanted to use if we had a meat, so if an animal was eating meat, we were looking on a different list, but we can just handle that a little bit different. For now, let's just go onto our data. Let's go onto our material database and let's just create a new material meat. Okay, we need these two. So let's see, have this. Okay, so you know what, let's just take I think this is just prefab. Yeah, it's just a cylinder. So let's go and create a new sphere this time. Let's create a material somewhere, shader material. Let's copy this. Let's make it red. Okay, then I call this meat, and we can remove this. We don't really care for that. And meat is just going to be the same. Either it is on the ground or it's not. So meat material, material prefab, and material raw prefab. Save that. And we also need to assign this onto the unit, onto the animal, of course. Okay. So with this way you can see that if you want an animal to produce trees when it dies, It's simply just a drag and drop method. Awesome. So we have all of that. Let's test them out. Let's go. It's going to go and eat at some point. But first, if we go on to the, let's find the animal first, because it's unparented right now. Oops. Okay, if we go and kill the unit, right here, it just becomes meat. So, if somebody now needs, of course, it can become a carcass and not a meat, and then it's a different behavior. So yeah, okay, we could just add that. I think it's something we can add later. So yeah, we have extended our logic for the animals, and we can have them eating, and we can also harvest them for meat and stuff like that. Okay, so as you can see, it starts to get shape. The game starts to have some shape right now. So let's finish with this part. As always, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and if you like to see more stuff like this, of course, feel free to support me on Patreon so we can keep making all of these. I'll see you next time.